And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. Every one of those people is voting for me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. That's right. White dudes for Harris, but their wives and their wives' boyfriends. Voting for Donald J. Trump sounds about right to me. Rings true. Welcome back, all of you censored commoners. I'm Lord Sterling, and this is episode 262. The Demonrats ramping up their election interference as Trump dominates the polls, and gold and silver skyrocket. Commie judge, anti-Trump judge Chutkin unseals 2,000 pages of evidence against Trump. Trump roasts the left at the memorial dinner. All kinds of crazy stuff to talk about as usual today. So make sure to join us Monday through Friday as we cover all the crazy clown world clusterfuck chaos, a cacophony, you could say, on Common Censored. Use hashtag Common Censored when you share the show and hashtag infantry. One share of the show equals one mission completed for the Common Censored infantry. Share it, let us know you shared it, and join in as an enlisted rank in the infantry branch of your choice. Info Army, Info Navy, Info Marines, etc. You can find us on X at Lord Sterling _. We're also on Truth, Getter, Gab, Minds at _ Common Censored and at Common Censored. Thanks to all of our new followers over on Rumble. Appreciate you guys. Links to all of the articles, content, stories, everything we covered today will be posted down in the video description on Rumble. So if you're watching this later on and you need to maximize the efficiency of your time and attention, click down on Show More. You can find all the links for everything we talk about. Mullima Mac will be adding timestamps throughout the broadcast too, so you can jump right to the point in the show where we cover the things that are interesting to you. Give her some support and head over to alplama.com, your new herbal health guru. And if you want to support the show directly, you can hit up our link tree at Common Censored. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Boom! All right, let's jump into the news. All kinds of crazy stuff to go over as usual today. This dude, Jim Garner, total Trump deranged moron over here. So somebody posted his picture in that comment, in that clip of Trump calling out the cucks on the left hilariously. Let's see what we got next. Oh, we have another video, this time of Kamala. Look at this. We caught her.
Meine Arbeit für richtig gibt, du jetzt keine Stimme ab. Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin. Meine Arbeit für Richtiges. Ob du glaubst, dass ich... Meine Arbeit...
That rings more true than Jim Garner's bullshit. Oh, man. Yeah, the left is definitely ramping up their attacks and their election interference as we get closer to November. All kinds of insane stuff going on. First, let's check in with Kitco. We have silver and gold skyrocketing, with silver hitting 33.71 right now, and gold. Look at this. Let's zoom out a little bit. Take a look at the 5-year chart. Go back to we'll go all time. Silver tied to the dollar massively skyrockets when the Hunt brothers manipulate the markets, massively skyrockets again during the 2008 collapse when I got involved with all this stuff. But look, they smashed it down right at the same peak where the Hunt brothers had gotten it up to. And then as we move forward now, it's skyrocketing again. And you can see after 2008, when they started just dumping bazillions of dollars into the market, silver started maintaining a steady trajectory. They're doing everything they can with the President's Working Group on Financial Markets, aka the Plunge Protection Team, manipulating the silver markets and gold markets with paper speculation to try to suppress the prices. Gold, all-time highs right now. All-time highs. They are losing control. They're losing control of everything. We've been covering the poly market, betting market on the presidential election recently as well. And we have Trump skyrocketing. Right now he's at 60.1%. Kamala down below 40%, which is really bad for Kamala. Really bad for Kamala. But there's a caveat. Apparently a mystery $30 million wave of pro-Trump bets has moved the poly market. So this may be a little less organic than we had speculating. 3per says silver is actually outperforming gold 6-1. Yep. Silver is being used more in industry. I predict silver will pass gold. That's my prediction. So you can get more of it for cheaper. That's the way to go, in my opinion, if you're purchasing precious metals at this moment. Of course, we're not giving financial advice, but I view silver and gold as a method to, not as a way to make money, but as a way to hedge your savings against inflation. Because that's all we're seeing over here is the prices go up in terms of dollars. It's not the value actually increasing of the metals. It's just the nomination, the way that it's you know what I'm trying to say. It's nominal value is in dollars. So they print more dollars, the value of the dollars goes down, and the price of silver or gold goes up, compensating for that. But yeah, it looks like a series of accounts over here have been, 4 poly market accounts have been systematically placing frequent wagers on a Trump election victory. So this doesn't seem organic over at poly market, but maybe it doesn't even matter because people thought it was organic and the polls are shifting possibly as a result of everybody focusing on this poly market thing. So self-fulfilling prophecy could be. And let's check in on the polls as they shift as well. We have 538 forecast finally flipping to Trump after weeks of lagging polls. Now he's ahead. It's changed apparently in the past few minutes since I looked at this, but it was Trump wins 52 times out of 100 a few moments ago. Now he's down to 51, with Harris winning 49 times out of 100. So Trump still on top at 538. We also have new polls from Interactive Polls at IA Polls 2022 on X, with Trump gaining 7 points in the past month as Harris tanks. Starting in September, Harris was up 5.4%. Now in October, as of yesterday, Trump was up 2.2%, leading currently right now 51.1%. with Harris at 48.9%. So Trump dominating in the polls, silver skyrocketing, poly market spread widening, and it seems like they know that they have no choice at this point but to go all in on the steal, disinformation, and intimidation of voters, which we'll get into starting now. Check in with Rasmussen. Thanks, Mama Mac, for sharing this one with me. At Rasmussen _poll. Good morning. Still zero legacy media coverage of these federal court cases implicating a federal agency in transporting millions of counterfeit 2020 election ballots, then hiding the paperwork for years. despite DOJ orders to turn it over. Why? Amazing that Rasmussen is even talking about this. 9 trucks, 1 to 1.5 million counterfeit 2020 ballots in each. U.S. Postal Service refuses to disclose who paid for them. Federal judge to rule this week. 81 million votes for Biden? No, I don't believe it. Imagine having to fight the U.S. Postal Service for years in federal courts just for the names of those who paid these trucking companies. Remember, it was the Amistad Group back in 2020 at the end of the year with a truck driver named Jesse talking about how he was operating a truck, being paid by someone else, picking up a whole container's worth of mail-in ballots, printed ballots from Bethpage, New York, at some printing facility and transporting them down across state lines into Pennsylvania. Super sketchy stuff as they're shipping fake ballots all around the country. They're probably doing it again, which is why they're not making any admissions about any of this stuff, to maintain the operation as they as they continue to try to do the same thing this time around. Unbelievable. Speaking of the corrupt Postal Service, look what we have over here. Same thing that was happening in 2020 again. A California man discovers a stack of mail-in ballots in a storm drain. I wonder how many of them would have been Trump voters. Jay Sinise of Sierra Madre, California, uncovered nearly a dozen ballots stuffed in a storm drain while doing yard work last Saturday. And there were reports of this same exact thing going on in 2020. This incident, first reported by ABC7, adds fueled ongoing debates surrounding election security and potential fraud. While landscaping near his property, Sinise noticed unusual debris in the storm drain adjacent to his house. Upon closer inspection, he discovered the ballots, which were addressed to residents in nearby Arcadia, California. Quote, "We're trained here to keep stuff out of the storm drain, so I got down on my hands and knees and dug around a little bit and started pulling it out," Sinise told ABC7. "I pulled out a batch of junk mail, Ralph's Ads and Aldi, and these ballots were mixed in with the junk mail. Of course, they caught my attention because we're seeing on TV about all the care being taken to prevent fraud and misuse of ballots. It seemed like a strange place for ballots to be." Sinise's story has quickly become emblematic of what conservatives have long feared, the mishandling and potential tampering of mail-in ballots that could jeopardize free and fair elections. Despite the Demonrats' insistence that mail-in voting is secure, instances like this continue to pile up, like mail-in votes in a storm drain, so to speak, undermining public trust. Sinise's suspicion? Someone went through mailboxes in that area, took what they wanted, and dumped the unwanted items, including these official ballots, into the storm drain. Wouldn't surprise me if it was USPS themselves. Didn't they officially back Biden the last time around, and yet they're the ones that are in charge of all these ballots? Go into a red neighborhood, you see a lot of Trump signs, maybe they toss the ballots in the fucking storm drain. Wouldn't surprise me. Quote, "I'm one of these people who's gotten almost everything paperless now. I don't get a lot of personal mail. The only thing I get these days that might be like that is a replacement credit card or something." In response to the incident, the LA County Registrar's website allows voters to request a replacement ballot if theirs has been lost or stolen, but you can only do so once.
An alarming find in Sierra Madre just weeks before the November 5th election, a stack of ballots in a storm drain.
As Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia tells us, it's a reminder to contact your registrar of voters if your ballot doesn't show up in the mail.
It's the same thing we saw happening last time. How about this one? Western Journal reporting federal judge sides with Biden-Harris DOJ, blocks attempt to remove ineligible voters from rolls ahead of the election. Trump is dominating. They can't let him win, so they have to make sure that illegals are voting and dead people. Federal judge on Wednesday halted an Alabama effort to purge voter registration rolls of people who should not be able to vote in the state. The Justice Department sued Alabama to stop Secretary of State Wes Allen from what he said were, quote, strategic efforts to, quote, remove non-citizens registered to vote, according to NBC. Under the program, Allen sought to remove 3,251 voters and said they would be referred to the state's Attorney General's office for possible prosecution. U.S. District Court Judge Anna Manasco, who had been nominated by former President Donald Trump in 2020, said the program had to stop due to the timing. Oh, it's just the timing. It's not that we're trying to protect illegals voting. This is insane. This is completely insane. And similar stuff is going on down in Texas as well. Dallas Express reporting federal judge shuts down key Texas election integrity laws. Federal judge continues to block enforcement of Texas election integrity laws. District Judge Xavier Rodriguez issued an order Friday permanently enjoining the state and county officials from investigating or prosecuting alleged violations of, quote, voter assistance provisions of Senate Bill 1, a comprehensive election integrity measure passed by the Texas legislature in 2021. Can the federal judges even block stuff that the Texas legislature does regarding elections? According to the Constitution, the state legislatures have the ultimate authority regarding federal elections. So is this even legal? The judge determined that several provisions of SB 1 targeted by voter assistance activists are preempted by Section 208 of the Voting Rights Act, which allows a voter who requires assistance due to a disability or inability to read or write be assisted by a person of the voter's choice, other than a person from the voter's employer or union. They wheeled out Jimmy Carter, who's not even conscious, so that he could vote for Kamala. I've seen other videos of people taking their catatonic grannies who could barely hold a pen and marking the ballots for them. Effectively dead people voting. People who aren't conscious, who aren't aware, who don't know what's going on, having their votes cast for them by their family. It's bullshit. Plaintiffs allege that SB 1's new disclosure requirements, modifications to the oath of assistance, ban on compensated assistance, and in-person canvassing restriction subvert the protections of Section 208 by narrowing the class of eligible assisters, requiring voters to take additional steps as a prerequisite to receiving assistance, and deterring voters from requesting and assisters from providing assistance in the voting process. The judge divided the challenged sections of SB 1 into categories. You guys can get into that and read all the details if you want. Link will be in the description at the broadcast. 3 per NBC, not believing shit. Yeah. But this is insane. They're interfering to make sure that people who are incapacitated, who are illegal, who are dead, can vote in the election, even if they're not even voting themselves. Insane. Let's hop over to Gateway Pundit for our next one. As a shocking actuarial analysis shows that bloated voter rolls hide impossible voter turnouts of over 100%. We saw this happening in Michigan in 2020. We're seeing it happen all over the place where districts or precincts report more than 100% of voter turnout for registered voters. You don't have to be a math expert to be able to tell that makes no fucking sense. You can't have over 100% of a population of registered voters voting. Even in places like I've mentioned before, like Australia, where voting is mandated, they never get basically over 95%. Some people are always not going to vote. So there's no chance. It's physically impossible for them to get over 100, and there's no chance that they'd even get to 100 in the first place. So this is just madness. Inflated voter rolls resulting in misleading turnout reporting. This actuarial analysis outlines misleading voter turnouts caused by bloated voter rolls. Well, if you have bloated voter rolls with a bunch of dead people and people who moved who could vote from other states and are still able to vote in their old hometowns where they used to live or where they lived before they died, then of course there's going to be more people voting than are registered to vote legally there. It's well established that the Virginia registration list, VRL, is materially overinflated. Recent estimations suggest that the list may include more than 1 million false registrations, excluding inactive registrations. What may be underappreciated is that the high number of false registrations on the voter rolls materially distorts reported voter turnout statistics. This mathematical demonstration shows how false registrations make turnout statistics unreliable and facilitates an opportunity to hide election fraud. To illustrate this program, Virginia's Henrico County 2020 presidential reported turnout statistics are used. Facts. U.S. Census estimates based on actual surveys for the ratio of the number of registrants on the rolls to the citizen voting age population nationwide for the last 6 general elections are presented below. Note that the highest ratio was recorded in 2020 at 72.7%. Virginia's ratio was between 75 and 76%. Virginia's VRL reflects registration rates materially greater than these U.S. Census Bureau rates. Of note, below is an excerpt from a pre-litigation letter filed August 8th, 2023 by the law firm of Holtzman Vogel threatening litigation against the Virginia Department of Elections for alleged negligence in maintaining Virginia's registration list. The Democrats can't maintain registration lists because they can't win if the registration lists are accurate. And if dead people aren't voting and if illegals aren't voting, they can't win. Trump dominating in the polls, massive crowds at all his rallies. Nobody shows up to listen to Kamala unless like Taylor Swift or some stupid ass artist is performing. Shoemaker, what's up, bro? Good to see you. So this is absolutely maddening. Note the impossible 102.5 voter turnout ratio for Henrico County. The Holtzman-Vogel findings are corroborated by statistics published by the Election Assistance Commission for Virginia in 2020. This translates to a 26.5% difference from the 2020 U.S. Census ratio, or in other words, possibly 1 in 4 voter registrations are in question when this U.S. Census metric is used. Note the estimate includes inactive registrations. It's madness. They're keeping the voter rolls stacked so they can add in as many fake votes as they need to put their candidate just barely in the lead to make it look realistic. So they maintain these bloated rolls so that they have all these fake votes at their disposal, which is why it's going to take so long and why they're normalizing counting votes in the election to go out weeks, days, months even, because they need time to rig it after it's done because they know they can't win. Insane calculation of impact on turnout statistics for false registrations. The reported turnout statistic for Henrico County was 77.62% based on 183,670 ballots cast and 236,922 registrations. However, if the registration list provided by Elect contains an excessive number of false registrations, what's the impact on reported turnout of these false registrations? 105%? They're going to have 105% of registered voters voting? This is insane. These findings raise serious red flags suggesting the likelihood of material ballot stuffing in Henrico County in the 2020 presidential race. Obviously, how does the Henrico County Registrar justify a turnout rate of 77% in the face of government statistics that provide compelling evidence that Virginia's registration lists are materially inflated? Residents of Henrico County are owed an explanation. We're all owed an explanation because that county is going to affect the overall national vote totals. We all have standing in this, not just the people in that county. And Henrico County residents would also like to know, where is Henrico County's election board? It's almost like it's a bunch of corrupt schmucks. Almost. How about this? Let's go over to the next craziness. Exclusive. Detroit Democrats hold training session for poll challengers. Reveal. Increased number of goons will be present to abuse GOP challengers. The goal is to attack GOP inspectors. All ballots will be allowed. They're making people stand like 30 feet away last time so they couldn't look at the names and the signatures on the ballots. They're like, oh, well, you can see it being counted. That's good enough. No, there needs to be someone counting it, a Republican and a Democrat looking over their shoulders like a hawk, verifying the details of the ballots. But they wouldn't let people in Detroit at the Metro Center, where they plastered big posters over the glass windows and kept the GOP watchers out during the count. It's corrupt to the core. David Jaffe, attorney and poll challenger, probably a loser in my bet. There were 3 training sessions held this week for Detroit's Democrat poll challengers. Reporter Shane Trejo, big league politics journalist and Michigan election integrity activist, sat in on one of the online training sessions and recorded it. According to VoteBeat Michigan, quote, poll challengers, unquote, distinct from poll workers and watchers, are individuals stationed at polling places and vote counting centers who have unique powers under Michigan law to challenge a voter's eligibility or question the way officials are doing their jobs. Poll challengers are meant to ensure that election workers do their jobs correctly and only count legal votes. But how are they going to do that when they're not allowed in the room, when they're made to stand 30 feet away? It's insane. 30 feet away when they are allowed in the same room. Michigan has new rules passed by the Democrat legislature for poll challengers following the 2020 election when GOP challengers were kicked out and locked out of the counting room. These new demon rat rules make it possible for a poll challenger to be easily removed from the facility if they make repeated challenges that don't pass legal muster. You should be able to make as many challenges as you want, because until you've made the challenge and have determined whether it passes legal muster, you don't know! So why are you going to kick people out for making the challenges before they even know? It's insane. Makes no fucking sense. Democrats have tried to make it a criminal offense to offend the election workers. Our fifis are hurt. You're wasting too much time making sure that everything's being done above board. We can't have that. We need the illegals to vote. These people are insane. The Democrat poll challenger training was led by David Jaffe, a well-known leftist activist and Democrat poll challenger in the Detroit area. Entire training was recorded by reporter Shane Trejo. Trejo's been active in Detroit politics and was a witness to the late-night ballot drops at the TCF Center in Detroit in 2020. Trejo was the Paul Revere of 2020 vote fraud, where he caught the infamous 3:30 a.m. Biden ballot dump. Remember this? Vans arriving in the middle of the night. Tens of thousands of supposed late arriving absentee ballots. Yeah, very convenient. Very convenient. After the place is closed, they bring in the extra votes that they need to rig it. We're not stupid. Many suspect these ballots were fraudulent ballots used by officials within the city of Detroit to defraud the 2020 vote from Trump, where Trump had been winning on election night, and suspicious spikes of returns that were nearly 100% for Joe Biden appeared in the middle of the night and switched the Trump victory into a defeat. And you guys remember the whole drop and roll thing? Gateway Pundit tracked the digital logs of the batches being introduced, and they were just like 50 in a row batches of the same exact number of Biden to Trump votes, and they get it so that they manipulate it until the point where Biden's just in the lead, and then the ratio of the votes is the same after that to make sure that it stays that tiny margin of victory for Biden. It's all rigged. It's rigged. Trejo is also the journalist who reported first on the Detroit leak videos in 2020. Here's our rundown of Jaffe's Democrat training from the video provided, which you can verify yourself. Democrats are effectively looking to dox election integrity activists as a way to intimidate them against participating. Democrats specifically name drop the Election Integrity Fund as their opposition. Democrats boast a large number of people they have recruited and put in place to control the process. Dems say the electronic poll book will be hidden from challengers and from election integrity activists. The electronic poll book is the only way to audit the ballots in real time against the paper ballots. In 2020, activists noted the electronic poll book had voters with birth dates in the 1800s and other obvious signs of fraud. Without access to that file, there will be no way to verify the validity of a ballot. Dems coordinating everyone through team leads texting on electronic devices, which may have the result of preventing any paper trail. Increased security goons will be on the side of the Democrats, working in concert with the Democrats. Here's what Jaffe says, quote, "We have a really good reputation with the security people. We have a good reputation with all the folks who work there. Introduce yourself as a Democratic challenger, a challenger from the Democratic Party, and you'll often get a smile of recognition. They're in on it. They're in on the steal." Democrats plan to excessively use state law to interfere with election integrity workers, utilizing MCL 168.727 subsection 3 to screw over election integrity activists. Jaffe says the enemy is the election integrity activists. Quote, "Let's be clear about their goals." Why is it that Democrats are always saying, let's be clear, let's be clear? I'm being perfectly clear about this. It's like all cringe Jean-Pierre says. It's all Kamala says. Look at that interview there the other day with Brett Baier. She said, "Let me be clear," or "We've been clear," like 100 times. We get it. We get it. It's clear that you're lying. They're going to be there to delay the count because if it takes a long time, Trump can claim victory, he claims. We're trying to make the count happen on time. We're not trying to delay the account. We're trying to make sure the votes are accurate. You're trying to actually delay the account for days after the election so you can insert your fake ballots. These people are gaslighting to the extreme. Create chaos, cause problems in Detroit. Jaffe says that documenting voter fraud is in itself fraud. He calls the fraud fraud. Democrats are not inspecting the election. They're there to attack other inspectors and make them ineffective at challenging fraud, clearly. Again, Jaffe says during the training for challengers, quote, some things we don't do. We do not challenge voters. What? That's your job. The Michigan Democrat Party doesn't do that. That's your job. These people are open, blatant criminals. Democrats want to create propaganda to push for further litigation and legislation that will cripple the ability for poll challengers to exercise their rights by taking notes on everything poll challengers do and say. Jaffe boasts that far-left Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's asshose guidance limits the rights of poll challengers to do much of anything. Jaffe says the ballots will be allowed regardless of anything challengers see because challengers have little to no power to stop the process. Jaffe says, gloating, quote, a challenged ballot is always counted. It's the Democrat way. When Trump gets in, you're going to be arrested, Jaffe. You fuckers are all going to be arrested. This is blatant fraud, blatantly illegal. Jaffe claims that the ballots should be finished counting soon on election night, even though they're anticipating a total of 100,000 absentee ballots for Detroit. He claims security is going to be much, quote, much better to protect the steal. Part of that is because challengers are being restricted. Even their movement in the facility will be restricted again. Inspectors will be allowed to, quote, red flag any challengers that the city officials can justify removing from the building. Jaffe brags that the process denies information to challengers, saying Republicans will be, quote, surprised a lot because election officials keep challengers in the dark on purpose and will not explain the election processes to them. Jaffe instructs Democrat challengers to take enough information on Republicans that they might be identified later. And if they refuse to identify themselves, it's, quote, it's a, quote, sign of a guilty conscience. No, it's because they don't want to be targeted and harassed by you lunatic criminal psychopath. But then also hypocritically says Democrats should not identify themselves to Republicans, saying if another challenger asks for your credential, I advise you not to show it to them. From the training, it's clear the Democrats are doing absolutely nothing to ensure the integrity of the election process. They're only there to push every ballot, real or fake, through the system. As they admit, voters will not be challenged. And anyone who challenges ballots will be harassed and removed from the room. They know they have no chance of winning, and they're doing everything they possibly can to prevent Donald Trump from just barnstorming the whole thing, including trying to shut down InfoWars, take Alex Jones off the air, now trying to keep Steve Bannon in jail longer than he's supposed to be, because they can't have him spreading the truth during the lead up to the election. George at Behizzy tweets over here posting, Steve Bannon has qualified to be released early from prison under Trump's First Step Act, but the Kamala Biden regime is currently holding him hostage. Quote, the Harris Bureau of Prisons is illegally holding me past my legal release date, trying to eliminate one of President Trump's strongest advocates. These criminals reek of desperation, and they just reek in general. You know what they say about Hillary and Obama? They smell like sulfur. They're demons. Literal demons. Something about this man sends chills down the deep state's spines. They don't want him in the fight for these next 3 weeks. Free Bannon now. That's right. Free Bannon right now. Let's hop over to National Pulse for more information about this. Raheem Kassam writing, exclusive Bannon prison statement. Biden and Harris are illegally holding me past my release date. Former Trump White House chief advisor Stephen K. Bannon has issued a blistering statement sent to the National Pulse, explaining how the Biden-Harris regime is holding them illegally, refusing to accept his First Step Act eligibility, and incarcerating him longer than required in order to swing the election. This is exactly what Kamala Harris did to tons of black people in California, keeping him in prison for that cheap slave labor, part of the prison industrial complex's whole purpose. Hell yeah, Shoemaker. George kicks ass. Threeper, common censored. So the state of Michigan has rigged this shit show for a one-sided outcome. You got it, brother. Threeper, general of the common censored Info Air Force. I salute you, sir. Quote, Kamala Harris is the queen of mass incarcerations, Bannon told the National Pulse. Quote, detested by black and Hispanic men who are refusing to turn out and vote for her. She has done nothing to implement President Trump's heroic First Step Act, in fact, welcoming hundreds of thousands of hardened illegal migrant criminals while allowing U.S. citizens eligible for early release to rot in prison. No mass deportations, but continual mass incarcerations. Bannon has a way with words. You got to give him that. On August 29th, 2024, Bannon filed a motion to reimpose bail or impose a period of supervised release. The government's response to Mr. Bannon's en banc petition has been pending for over 75 days. What's the point if you're not going to just make a decision? Just wait until the day he's supposed to get out. His lawyers say, quote, the court should grant Mr. Bannon's motion for bail pending completion of Supreme Court review and order the Bureau of Prisons to release Mr. Bannon immediately. Bannon continued, quote, Harris will lose the election on her inability to get Black and Hispanic men to vote for her in Philadelphia, Detroit, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. Detroit, that's why they're rigging it so hard up there. The 4 years she did nothing for family reunification of American citizen prisoners, while genuflecting to illegal alien criminals, is coming back to bite her. Her Indian heritage surely taught her karma is a bitch. He concluded, the Harris Bureau of Prisons is illegally holding me past my legal release date, trying to eliminate one of President Trump's strongest advocates. These criminals reek of desperation. Yup, they reek of desperation. They reek overall. Let's jump over to the next story. Debench this bitch is what I have for my little headline in the show notes. Breaking. Commie anti-Trump judge Chutkan unseals 2,000 pages of, quote, evidence from Jack Smith's D.C. case against Trump less than 3 weeks before election. Trump camp responds. Christina Layla wrote this one. Judge Tanya Chutkan unsealed approximately 2,000 pages of, quote, evidence in Jack Smith's D.C. case against President Trump less than 3 weeks until Election Day. Most of the unsealed pages are redacted. The sealed documents include grand jury testimony. Julie Kelly reporting, Chutkan authorized the posting of nearly 2,000 more pages of evidence. Cursory review shows roughly half the pages are still sealed, but documents include grand jury testimony. Earlier this month, Chutkan agreed to unseal the 165-page opening brief. That was the first of the dirty October surprises. Trump lawyers previously asked Chutkan to keep Jack Smith's evidence appendix from public view. If they're not going to release the FBI, the information on the FBI informants in the crowd and in the building on January 6th, 2021, then they shouldn't be releasing this stuff. Either release it all or release none of it. Release it all or release none of it. If you just release one side without releasing the other side, it's election interference. President Trump's lawyers argued in a 2-page filing that Jack Smith was trying to interfere in the election by publicly docketing more evidence in the January 6th case. Yeah, publicly docketing it. Chutkan denied the request from Trump's lawyers and unsealed nearly 2,000 pages right before the election. It's not going to have any effect, though, because the people that are voting for Biden there's nothing that anybody could say to change them because they're literally hypnotized in a mass formation psychosis, incapable of thinking critically, terrified to the point from Orange Man, evil Orange Hitler, that they'll just listen to anything the assholes in the suits and ties on the TV say. It's part of the affliction of mass formation psychosis. You become so desperate that you just trust anything that figures of authority say, even if it's blatant bullshit, even if you know it's bullshit. Trump camp responded to the latest Biden-Harris DOJ election interference, saying, quote, radical Democrats are hell-bent on interfering in the presidential election on behalf of lying Kamala Harris. That's Trump spokesperson Stephen Chung. Quote, with over 2 weeks until Election Day, just over 2 weeks, President Trump is dominating this race and crazed liberals throughout the deep state are freaking out. As mandated by the Supreme Court's historic decision on presidential immunity and other vital jurisprudence, this entire case is a sham and a partisan, unconstitutional witch hunt that should be dismissed entirely, as should all of the remaining Democrat hoaxes. Yeah, clearly, more information on that if you want to read it. Link will be in the description after the show. Let's hop over to Pennsylvania next for another highly disturbing effort at undermining the election and intimidating voters. Threeper! No grand jury decision-making info should ever be redacted. It's called public information. There you go. There you go. So what are they trying to hide? And selectively releasing the damning information while covering up the other exculpatory information, Threeper? What do you think? Sound sound likely? I mean, that's exactly what they're doing while they hide the the exculpatory January 6th evidence and then release all this garbage. How about this, though? Alarming. Trump supporters in Pennsylvania targeted with threatening letters from the radical left. Quote, your visible support comes with a price. They're threatening to, like, kill people's pets and stuff, man. Like, this is insane. This is insane. Trump supporters in Pennsylvania are reportedly being targeted with threatening letters from radical leftists, warning them of their visible support for the former president could lead to dire consequences. Residents with Trump signs in their yards, particularly in Philly, have reported receiving disturbing letters through the U.S. Postal Service, complete with fake Trump campaign letterheads. Post-Millennial first reported the threatening letters, which start off as seemingly benign thank you notes for being engaged in the electoral process, quickly go down the rabbit hole, transition into the absurd, the bizarre, and devolve into dark, ominous threats. One Trump voter, Janet from Penn Valley, shared her harrowing experience to the Post-Millennial. After proudly displaying Trump signs in her yard, she received one of these letters filled with hateful rhetoric and explicit threats to her family and property. Unsettling message was far from an isolated incident. Janet, who reported the matter to the Lower Merion police, revealed that the other Trump supporters in her area had received similar letters. Law enforcement, however, has been unable to pursue the matter further, as the letters were delivered through the mail without any available video evidence. Sorry, that makes no difference, as you can see. These are printed letters. Every printer sold in this country is programmed to release a printer-specific watermark in barely visible ink that can be detected by the FBI. They can figure out exactly what printer these letters came from. Period. They can do that. Despite this, Trump supporters in the area have confirmed that this intimidation campaign is widespread, with reports of the same threatening letter being delivered both by mail and without postage directly into mailboxes. The letter, which opens with pleasantries, swiftly transitions into a vitriolic condemnation of Trump supporters, labeling the former president as a felon, rapist, desecrator, and blaming him for political violence in the country. Insane. Here we go. Let's check out the letter. Dear neighbor, a quick note of thanks for being engaged in the election and for your participation in the process. We are writing with a concern about the level of political violence in the country during this election year, as well as the threats to our democracy and freedoms. So we're asking you to take a close look at the truth, facts, and the future for a better America where we can all live in harmony together. Your candidate is a felon, rapist, desecrator, an immoral, flawed man. He is major reason violence is up. Couldn't even use proper grammar. Let's see. He is major reason violence is up. He is major reason violence is up. Remember January 6th in Charlottesville? Oh, the Charlottesville hoax? Who Trump disavowed those people? January 6th, where it was federal informants in the crowd instigating and them launching tear gas and explosives and rubber bullets into the crowd to instigate a reaction, where they opened the doors and let people in. But it's Trump responsible for all the political violence. What about the Summer of Love, the Black Lives Matter Antifa riots, the desecration of Lafayette Square, the attempted burning of the church across from the park from the White House, the incident where the entire White House was surrounded by lunatics and they had to bring out SWAT, dressed Secret Service who were being assaulted by lunatic leftists. Was it like May 29th, 2020, something like that? And Trump had to go down into a bunker. What about on Inauguration Day 2016, when they were smashing business storefronts, setting limousines on fire in D.C. and blocking people from getting into the inauguration? What about that? What about all that political violence? The vast majority of political violence has been from the left. They killed like 30 people in the Summer of Love. By supporting Orange Man, you are declaring your public support for a disregard of the law, civil discourse, and unity. You are indicating your hatred for minorities, immigrants, foreigners, women, education, and the rights of your fellow citizens. The rights of women to make decisions with their own healthcare needs, over their own healthcare needs. Oh, and yes, a hatred for Taylor Swift, who's contributed nothing but joy to the world. And you are entitled to all of this. However, this is a reminder that your visible support comes with a price and at a cost. There will be consequences. There will be consequences. Should your candidate win, the consequences will be staggering. The country will continue to be divided. The economy will falter. And recession will be accelerated. The deficit ballooned. That's you guys. Obama spent more money, put us further in debt than all other presidents combined. From 83, whatever the first year is we had an actual president, from the founding of the country until Obama. He spent more than all of them combined. And the mainstream media was going out there saying, Obama decreased the deficit. And these fucking idiots on the left believe it. Like people even in my own family. It's insane. The rich will get richer. And judging by your house, you don't qualify for rich. As much as you may think you may. But more importantly, we know where you live. You're in the database. Oh, we're in a database now. Man, I wished I lived in Pennsylvania so I could be waiting for these fuckers to show up. Man, these people. Oh, man. In the dead of a cold winter's night, this year or next and beyond, there is no knowing what may happen. Your property, your family may be impacted. Your cat may get shot. And more. Spend some time with your rabbi or pastor or whatever religion you follow and dig into the meaning of morality and reconcile the hate with your maker. We're worried about political violence. You're hateful. We'll kill your cats. A little bit of cognitive dissonance there. You guys are hateful. We'll kill you. Like these people have zero self-awareness. Zero. Face the truth and understand the facts. Stop being lazy. No, it's you people who are lazy. Just slurping up the buffet of lies from the controlled corporate media and ignoring the entire rest of the spectrum of information. Go to ground.news and look at the people on the left only watch information from the left. People on the right, we look at the full spectrum of information and then use critical thinking, logic, and reason to determine what the facts are and what makes the most sense. Question your commitment to a cult. He is the biggest threat to the country and does not understand the idea of America as defined by George Washington, by the founders. Your vote for this guy is seen as treading on my rights. You tread on me at your peril, motherfucker. Can you believe this? That's right, Reaper. This letter is an absolute threat. FBI needs to analyze these pieces of paper, find the watermarks from the printers, and arrest these insane people. We look forward to visiting in the future. Sincerely, patriotic citizen and a true American. Wow. 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 Totally jumping the shark. The left is beyond desperate. Beyond desperate. This is insane. Completely insane. So take this. I'm going to take this link, post it in the chat right now for you guys, because you need to share this out to everybody and expose these psychotic communist lunatics. But that's not the only thing going on to prevent Pennsylvania voters from participating. How about this? Moms for RFK Jr. At Moms for RFK Jr. Urgent. Pennsylvania voters, check your mail-in ballots now. Thanks, Mama Mac, for sending me this one. I just opened my mail-in ballot and something's seriously off. Both the secrecy and return envelopes came already sealed. Watch as I explain the issue and why it matters. Let's check it out. Thanks again, Mama Mac.
Hey, so I live in the state of Pennsylvania, and I got my mail-in ballot a couple of days ago, and I have to show this to you because I'm concerned. So this is the way it works with the mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania. You complete the ballot. Here we go. Two-sided ballot. Upside down, sorry. But you get the point. You fill out your ballot. And then you're supposed to put the ballot in this yellow secrecy envelope, this official election ballot envelope. And then you put the yellow envelope inside the exterior envelope that gets sent back to your county board of elections. Okay, but here's the problem. My yellow secrecy envelope arrived. I took it out of the envelope that I received it in, and it's already sealed. Look at this. It's already sealed. And not only that, but my external mailing envelope is also already sealed. Look at this. This is how it came. Already sealed. So if I'm going to use these, which I'm not, but if I'm a busy person and maybe I don't open it until the day of the election, because let's face it, people are busy, I'm going to have to open this envelope, use a letter opener or a pair of scissors or something, tape it shut, I don't know. And same thing with the exterior envelope. And it's going to look like my ballot has been tampered with, which means it's not going to be counted. So I'm going to be calling my county election office tomorrow and see what to do about it. But I have to imagine that there are people that are busy, or they open it at the last minute and they just know that it has to be postmarked, right, by election day. Well, some people might decide that it's just not worth the hassle, or maybe they forget about it. They put it in their pile of things to do. And I'm just wondering if anybody else in Pennsylvania or any other state has run into this kind of a problem.
Insane. They're sending them out already sealed. You guys might remember too when they were doing recounts down in like Georgia or something. They're finding all these other ballots, mail-in ballots that had no creases in them, that were never sent in the mail. It's pure evil, guys. It's pure, unadulterated, 100% evil. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're trying to steal the election again. We got Washington Post running cover for the genocide perpetrators over here as well. Completely legit elections, Billdozer. Oh, man. Billdozer! Inside the, quote, Make America Healthy Again push that's perplexing health leaders. Oh, health leaders are perplexed that chemicals and GMOs hurt people and cause chronic illnesses, kind of like how doctors are baffled that people are dropping dead on sports fields and on TV interviews. We're just baffled, guys. We're perplexed. These fucking unmitigated shitbags want you dead, want you sick. There's no argument against Maha. Nothing. And they're running cover for the people trying to make you sick and ruin your lives. Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness. Well, we don't have a democracy, so your fucking tagline is stupid. How about that? You can read the full article if you want. We don't need to get into their bullshit, horse shit. How about this? Evil Kamala and her supporters mock Christian attendees shouting Jesus is Lord during an abortion speech. Kamala coldly responds, "You're at the wrong rally. Not a good look, Kamala, you witch," with a B. MJ Truth Ultra posting the video over here. Oh my God, someone shouted Jesus is Lord at Kamala's rally last night, and she said, "Oh, I think you're at the wrong rally. I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street." A Trump rally smaller than a Kamala rally? Oh man, that's rich. That is rich. Take a look at this video.
With the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
That's right. We don't accept differences of opinion on the left. We don't allow any variation of thought. You black people, if you disagree with one thing, we'll call you white. We'll call you the black face of white supremacy. They groupthink. You step 1 foot outside the commie lunatic bandwagon, and you are cast aside, and like these people are insane. More insanity as they go to desperate measures and make up just total lies and bullshit as usual. Michael Cohen claims Trump will abolish Congress and the judiciary. Country will become like North Korea. What? Look at this fucking loser. Donald Trump's disgraced and deranged former lawyer Michael Cohen has made one of his most outlandish claims yet. During an interview on MSDNC's Deadline with Nicole Wallace's asshole, Cohen suggested that Trump would get rid of the U.S. Congress and the entire judiciary and create a similar state to Russia or North Korea. Well, what I could see happening is him, it's something, like something has to be done to deal with this. Everybody in the Congress could be replaced or something, but it's not going to get rid of Congress as a whole. Uh-oh, we're being raided. Man the parapets, arm the battlements, launch the cows. K Talks Radio 1013 in the house. What's up, guys? Hope all is well with you. It's friendly fire. Don't drop the hot oil. They're on our side, guys. They're on our side. Hope you guys had a good broadcast, and thanks for joining us. World Rockumentary Channel, BJ 1973 CW. What's up, guys? Welcome to Common Censored. I hope you're having a good Friday. Let's check out this video. Is there a video? All right, hold on. Let's find this video. It's got to be out here. Cohen, Trump, Congress on X. Media. Yeah, this looks like it's got to be it.
If, in fact, Trump wins and he does exactly what he says he's going to do, rewrite the Constitution, and he's going to destroy our tripartite system, get rid of the judiciary and get rid of the Congress.
According to who?
Mike Schmidt, my husband, wrote a story about all of the people that he already used the Department of Justice against. Making the same point you are, the reporting tells...
He's using the Department of Justice against people. You put Steve Bannon in jail. You put Owen Schroyer in jail. You're taking away InfoWars. You put Peter Navarro in jail. You didn't let Rudy Giuliani present evidence at his trial. You didn't let Alex Jones present evidence at his trial. You didn't let Trump present evidence at his trial. Default judgments, jury verdict notwithstanding. You guys are the ones using the Department of Justice and the system to railroad and persecute your political opponents. This is that Karl Marx quote. Just blame your opponents for whatever you're doing. And that's exactly what they always do. Ted Williams' frozen head. What's up? Welcome. Thanks for joining us, guys. Oh, I see Sam Duty out there, too. What's up, Sam?
It's the same story that you're telling, that when Trump talks about targeting the enemy within, it is something he already did.
No, it's you, the lying propagandist, fake news media, who's just straight up lying, committing fraud openly to the American public. You will be prosecuted. Yeah, we do have an enemy within. And members of the military, for instance, are sworn to defend the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. That's you. You are the enemy. And you know the enemy. You're the enemy, so you're deflecting. Kissifer, welcome back. Good to see you.
He pursued Jim Comey. He pursued Andy McCabe. He pursued and jailed you. When you hear the vice president make this argument, I know you would like that extra point to be made, that it's not a hypothetical. It's real. Can you tell people what it's like to be an American citizen and have your own government at Trump's direction pursue you?
There's no words to describe it. I can't believe that this is...
You're a criminal. Of course you're going to be pursued. The difference is that we're pursuing criminals and you're pursuing political opponents with bogus, phony persecutions.
The America that we're talking about. This is something you see in Russia. This is something you see in Saudi Arabia. This is something you see in North Korea, in China. You don't see this in the United States of America, but guess what? We do.
Yeah, like in the Alex Jones case where they said, you can't say you're innocent. And they brought in HBO cameras to film it, to make a whole propaganda thing when they wouldn't even let him present evidence in his favor.
And that's the type of government that this man is going to run, especially when he turns around and he says he wants loyalty oaths taken and given to him by every single person in his administration. There will be no guardrail. So, yes, I want to see the vice president in the last 18, 19 days of this election take it home. Explain to the American...
Total joke. Al Sharpton, too, saying he's convinced that he's on Trump's list and he'll be jailed if Trump wins the 2024 election. A little bit of confession here. The only reason he should be convinced he'll be jailed is if he knows he's a criminal. Yeah, if you're a criminal, you're probably on a list of people that's going to be prosecuted. Like, dude, what did you do? What are you feeling guilty about, Al Sharpton? What do you know you're going to be prosecuted for? Professional race hustler Al Sharpton said without providing any evidence whatsoever that he's on a list and will be jailed if Trump is elected president. MSNBC's Donnie Deutsch said he's in disbelief that Trump supporters do not understand that our freedom is on the line. As they do everything possible to take away our freedoms and turn this into a communist country. The exact opposite of individual rights is collectivism, and that's what you guys push. That's your whole deal. Do they not understand that freedom is on the line? Insane. Look at this. Let's hop over to X so I can make it a little bit bigger for you guys.
You know, I talk, as we all talk to a lot of people who vote for Trump, and I say to them, and I still can't sort of figure out, do they not believe it or do they not care? Do they not understand that our freedom is on the line? Do they not get that, or do they just not care? Do they take freedom for granted at this point? You know, when you hear Mark Milley, a man who has served this country, a great man, Joint Chiefs of Staff, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, literally say, who's been in the room with him and say, he is a fascist to the core. He is a danger to America. Do they think
he's a fascist while the federal government under Biden colludes with big tech and social media to censor Americans? What's the definition of fascism? Mussolini's definition? Oh, the merger of corporations and state? That's you fucks. That's them colluding with you in Operation Mockingbird, the CIA controlling the media. It's you. You're the fascists.
He's making that up. Do they just so care about their 3% tax cut? What is it? And I challenge people, and I say, you do understand that he will turn on this country, and he will turn us into Hungary. Do you not understand the freedoms that started, as you brought it up, it started with Roe v. Wade. It will
We like Viktor Orban. Don't threaten us with a good time.
continue. It will continue by putting his enemies in jail. It will continue on having unfree media. Are there people around this table that are really worried, Rev?
Putting his enemies in jail. Like Steve Bannon? Like Owen Schroyer? Like Peter Navarro? You are putting people in jail. You're trying to put Trump in jail right now. Like, give me a break, man.
Are you worried going forward that you're on a list if Donald Trump is elected? Yes or no?
I'm convinced I'll be on the list.
I am too.
I don't know how we're not going to be.
And think about that. This is America. This is the United States of America, and people in the media, like the Rev, have to be concerned that they may be on a list. I have people saying to me, Donnie, are you worried? This is America. And yet people will still give permission to vote for Donald Trump. What's wrong with us?
What's wrong with you? A lot, bro. I don't even know where to start. But yeah, the government has lost the consent of the governed World Rockumentary Channel. Make sure to subscribe to them on Rumble. Yeah, they have. The only way that the federal government can assume the just consent of the governed is if the explicit and specific purpose of the government is to protect the rights of the individuals being governed. If you're doing anything other than that, you can't assume the just consent. The only reason you can assume the just consent is because there's nobody on earth that would, not want their rights to be protected. That's how you can assume just consent. This is explained in the Declaration of Independence. And these fucking people know exactly what they're doing as they lie and gaslight the public and work towards stealing the election again. But it's going to be too big to rig this time, guys. Too big to rig. But we can't take that for granted. Share these links. Convince people to continue convincing people to go out there and vote. Make our voices heard. Show up in force en masse on Election Day. And make sure we get a red wave. Trump was at the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner. Actually, we got one more thing to cover before we get to that. Couple things, actually. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Elon Musk posting this as the desperate Democrats bring European politicians to battleground states in the United States to campaign for Kamala. If the fucking redcoats are campaigning for your candidate, you're on the wrong side, dipshits. Elon Musk saying, this is illegal. This is illegal. Reposting Ian Miles Chong. Around 100 UK Labour politicians are campaigning on behalf of Kamala Mamala across battleground states. Isn't this foreign election interference? Imagine if Hitler Putin had sent over a bunch of Russian politicians to campaign for Donald Trump. We fought a war against the British, and they're sending their people over here to campaign for the commie candidates now. Yeah, imagine if members of the Russian Duma did this. I hadn't even gotten that far, but that's immediately where my mind went as well. Sophia Patel, I have nearly 100 Labor Party staff, current and former, going to the U.S. in the next few weeks, heading to North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. I have 10 spots available for anyone available to head to the battleground state of North Carolina. We will sort your housing. Email me. These people are openly engaging in foreign election interference. Libercrat saying just that. This is foreign election interference. Period. Recent posts made by Sophia Patel, the head of operations for the UK's Labour Party, on social media stated that over 100 members of the UK Labour Party are involved in the US election, specifically supporting and helping Kamala Harris's campaign. This has raised serious concerns over compliance with the US election laws, which strictly prohibit foreign nationals from contributing to or participating in any US election activities. As outlined in 52 US Code, Section 30121. Citizens are urged to stay vigilant and report any suspicious activities to their local authorities. If anyone has more information on Sophia Patel or the UK Labour Party, please reach out to us immediately. I want FOIA documents. Like, we got to see if there's a connection with this person, this operation, and either the Democrat Party or the White House. If they're openly violating the laws and helping to orchestrate this, they need to be prosecuted. And you guys know I want a constitutional amendment to update the forms of capital punishment. Spikes for pandemic perpetrators. Wood chippers for pedos. We already have ropes for treason, so I guess that's what would apply in this case. And of course, volcanoes for climate hoaxers, stifling and violating the rights of participants in the economy, shutting down their businesses and operations. Oh man, this is absolutely maddening. And Gator shared this interesting story with me after the revelation that the DOJ has issued guidance allowing the assassination of American citizens on U.S. soil. U.S. firm reveals electric spy drone that flies 5 hours and fires guided bombs. AI-powered spy drones firing bombs. Are they going to attack MAGA with AI-controlled drones on U.S. soil? Kamala's tanking in the polls. Is the deep state going to orchestrate an assassination of Kamala, blame it on MAGA, and unleash the DOD and drones against MAGA while they bring in a new candidate and take advantage of the initial bump in the polls that any new candidate would get before people realize again that they're being played? It wouldn't surprise me. For surviving in contest environments, this drone has a VNS day-night VIO navigation system with laser terrain matching, flexible radio options with frequency hopping. This was just unveiled right after the DOD talks about how they're making it so that they can assassinate us, man. This is crazy. Crazy. So Trump spoke at the annual Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner. Did a little bit of a roast. We call it some trolling. We do some trolling. Or it's called we do some trolling. We have the full video here if you guys want to watch it. Link will be in the description. I'll post it in the chat right now for you guys to save because it's pretty good. But let's hop over to Citizen Free Press at Citizen Free Press with one S on X. Trump's top 5 jokes from the Al Smith Catholic dinner. He saves the best for last for Chucky Schumer. Chucky Schumer. Let's take a look.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz.
Oh!
Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially The city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this?
Yeah,
White
saw this
Dudes for
one.
Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
And that's 2-1 in our favor, losers.
A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward
I'm down, Donna.
a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep them
Oh!
That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Chucky Lizard person Schumer. Special place in hell. Reserved for you, lizard boy. Ugh. The deep state, no, the intelligence community, they got 6 ways to Sunday to get back at you. What? Since when is the intelligence community in the business of retribution against American citizens, huh? Let's hop over to the... Oh, we already saw this one. Benny posted the link to Trump say that to Chucky Schumer. Let's hop over to this one next. As President Trump visits Javier's barbershop in the Bronx. Black voters in droves switching and abandoning the Demonrat plantation, realizing the jig is up. This is going to be an inflection point. My prediction for male black voters, at least, where this is going to show the exit polls, everything's going to show they are abandoning the left in this election bigly. And this is more evidence of that. Remember the rally that Trump did in the Bronx a couple months ago? Tons of Hispanics, tons of black voters out there just chanting MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. It was amazing. Look at this.
Nice to see you all. Nice to see you all. It's always a pleasure. Come into the barber's here. Excellent. Very good. I can see that good. Yeah. Nice soft flow. What's that all about? That's what I'm doing. It's just nice to see you all. Big hands, strong guy. So you're the owner?
My son is the owner. Yeah, his father.
Oh, you did that very nice and easy, huh? Is he as good as you?
He's great.
He's better. Nice to see you all.
Epic, classic. Trump mingling with the people. Try to watch Kamala do something like that. She'd be ridiculed and laughed out of the place. How about this? Kamala close with Dem, who tried to make child porn possession a felony. And let's end the YouTube broadcast while I'm thinking about it, since we're over the hour mark at this point. Here's the link if you're on YouTube to come join us over on Rumble and X, where the water's warm and we can speak freely. That's right. Ditch big tech and come join us on alt tech. The future is now. So if you can't make it, sorry to have to ditch you, but we'll be back on Monday for more Common Censored. Hope you guys have a great weekend. If you can't join us, but come join us. Until then, let's get ready to rumble.